Hey guys, NW Order for Life here. Going to do Tokyo Ghoul episode 1. Before I get into the review today, I just want to say that I think this show has a lot of potential. Um, it's very dark. It makes you think about a lot of different things, like, what exactly constitutes a monster. Um, you know, how do people, handle what they're given in life. Like if we handle the bad cards, that are given to us, you know, uh, maybe then we can make a good life. So there's like a lot of moral dilemmas that this show will bring up, and there's a lot of like thought-provoking responses that people are gonna that people are gonna take from this, and it resembles a former show that a show that was on called Shiki, an anime. It was about like people getting turned into vampires against their will and then coming back and then pretty much accepting that they are vampires and start killing people that they once loved. So this is something similar to that. It's the same type of like what's right, what's wrong kind of discussion. Um, and it should be fun to get into the show and to talk about this in the weeks to come. Because I will be doing this show every week once the new episodes come out. First, trying to catch up on episode 1 and 2. So here we go. The episode opens up with a woman eating men on the floor. This woman is covered in shadow, so you can't really see, what she looks like. We see that it's in this like big penthouse-like building with aquariums all around, and then this guy, this assassin type of man, uh, shows up in front of her and well, from behind her, and she sees him, and he says that he's there to kill her, and he knows exactly who she is, and she says, "Don't interrupt my meal," and you can see that she's got this like really sadistic personality. Like she didn't say it the way I just said it. She's like, "Don't interrupt my meal," like she's like really out there, whacked out in the head, and she's just feasting on these bodies of men that she killed, and so he grows out this monster, grotesque appendage out of his arm, I believe it is appendage, and goes to attack her, and she sprouts out these like tendrils out of her back. These, I think it's 4 tendrils, and she attacks, and he attacks, and it's just like she's suddenly gone, and she's like, I have no time. And she's all of a sudden she's standing on top of the roof of the building outside, and she's like, I have no more time to play to play with you, and she like takes this wrench that she had and she throws the wrench on the rooftop, and the guy inside the building, he's like, where did you go, give that back, that's mine. So I don't know if that wrench was like a weapon or if it was like something he personally loved, but she took it from him and she threw it on the rooftop and she got out of there, and that's going to be important for later on um, in the episode 2 review of that wrench. What there's a plot point right there. So she so then the show switches to show us these two friends, like well, first it shows us this like news reporter girl saying like how ghouls it was a ghoul that killed all these people in that building, and so now we learn that that in that building where all the murders are, it was caused by a ghoul. So this woman was a ghoul, and we now see like 2 detectives talking about it, and they're like, oh, this ghoul is a binge eater, or forget the exact wording that they use, but she eats more than one. She eats a lot of people at once, and we gotta figure out like how to get her, to stop her, or whatever, to that effect. And now we see 2 friends. The friends' names are the main character Ken Kaneki and his friend Hide. And Hide is like, oh come on, like let's go eat at the cafe, whatever, and you can introduce me to this girl that you like. And he's like, no, no, he's like, you know, hesitant about it. And so now we see them in the cafe, and And then all of a sudden he's like, "Come on, like look at that girl. She's really cute." And we're looking at the girl Toka Kirishima. Toka is this the waitress, and she comes over because he calls her over for well, she comes over to take their order. And while he takes their order, he says, "What's your name?" Hide says. Hide is very outgoing. He's very funny, and he seems to generally really care about his friend Ken. And she's like, she answers shyly what her name is, and then he's like, "You have a boyfriend?" And she runs away, like she blushes and she just shies away. And Ken is like, "Don't do that. Like, what happens if the girl that I like would have saw that? If she was in here and she would have saw that?" And then almost on cue, right after that, the door opens and the girl walks in. The girl's name is Rize Kamishiro, and she is this really beautiful girl um, with this light purple hair. Oh, before I get into Rize though, Toka has like this small, not small, yeah, short cut hair. Like her hair is cut short and it's like bluish, and she's pretty. And this girl, Rize, Rize is like this slender, beautiful looking girl with this light purple hair, and beautiful smile, beautiful personality, and she's just like angelic like to Ken, or and she seems like to give off the vibe like the perfect woman, soft spoken, kind, gentle, and all that stuff. So as soon as Hide sees Ken looking at her, and Ken saying that's her, that's the girl that I always I always see in this restaurant, in this cafe, and Ken is like, I mean, and Hide is like, forget it, like she's way out of your league, don't even try. And he's like, that's mean, don't say that. And so as they're eating, Ken looks at Rize a lot, and Rize catches his eye, and Rize smiles at him. And so Ken is feeling good about himself, and Ken notices that Rize is reading like the same book that he's into, and he's like, "All right," Hide is like, "I'm gonna leave you guys alone. I'm gonna leave you alone, Ken. See if you can talk to her, and see if you can go out with her. Good luck. And he goes away. And so then Ken ends up calling Hide and telling Hide like, "Wow, we like the same book, and you know, um, it's really cool." Actually, before that, we see them in the cafe talking, and we notice that Toka doesn't eat much of her, not Toka, that Rize doesn't eat the food like that's in front of her. So he's like, I notice you're not eating much. She's like, oh, I'll eat later. I'm on a diet right now, or something to that effect. And so Rize says that she has to go home. They talk about like how they like the same book or whatever, and then she says like if you can walk me home, I live in a dangerous area, and I really feel safer if you walk with me. So he's like, sure, and then we see Hide get a call from him, Ken saying how, oh, I'm walking her home, she's into the same books I am, it's so awesome. He's like, wow, good for you, Ken, like, And then we see Ken walking home with, before that though, I mean, when Rize walked in, I forgot to mention, Toka gave like, like a serious look. Like as soon as Rize walks in, like, all beautiful and whatever, Toka's like, and she gives a look. And now we see Ken and Rize walking home, walking to her house, and they start talking about like how they like the same books, and you know, he mentions how his parents are dead, and things like that. They get to like, it's funny because you see them walking from like really nice streets filled with people and lights and all these things, and at the end of the destination there's like this alleyway that's really dark. It veers right off. It's like the left path is like this nice lit up path, and then to the right path it's all dark and there's like no lights there. She's like, I live over here, like and you imagine he must be thinking like, oh, I see why she's afraid to go home by herself. So anyway, so we see Toka walking with a friend or some girl on the left path, which is all lit, and as Ken and Rize walk on the dark path, Toka once again gives a look, and she stops in her tracks, and she's like, "Oh, nothing's wrong," and she just goes about her way. And so as they're walking through the darkness, or not through the darkness, but through the dark path, uh, Rize says that this is where she's going to get off. Thank you for taking her, and he's like, if you'd like, I'd really like to go out with you, yeah, to go. I'd like to see you again. I think he says, and she says, well, we do like the same books, and she's smiling at him, and she's getting close to him, and she's like, and honestly, Ken Kun, I really like you too, and then as she's like leaning into him, like where it looks like she's gonna hug him, she gets this psycho grin on her face, this devious look, and she bites his shoulder, just like just like that, and he's like, he's going nuts and he's screaming, and then you see the red eyes on her. Um, a trait of the ghouls ghouls have their eyes get beet red and like they expand a little bit and they have old veins popping everywhere, and so he, so she's like, she just starts talking about like how she really likes him. Like she's like, oh, you smell wonderful. Your body type is great. Not, you don't have a lot of fat on you, but that's all right because whatever. She's like, I really like you, and that's why I'm gonna eat you. And she starts chasing him like into the up, and he's running from her, and he runs through a construction site, and she knocks him with one of her tendrils into like the wall. So he's like pretty much on the verge of dying. And Rize, as she goes in for the kill, like very happily and sadistically, like, oh, the game has ended, and it's time for her to eat. All you see, all the cables on top of the construction site are cut, like the wired cables, and all this debris falls on top of Rize, mostly Rize, I guess a little bit on Ken, and Rize is shown pretty much like dying in the debris, like she's like and her eyes go down, she's dead, and now we see an image of like Ken in this like dream world or whatever, and he hears the doctor saying like we gotta put we gotta transfer the girl's organs into his body, and like we can't do that. We don't have permission from his next of kin. I'll take full responsibility. And then like all of a sudden his dream world is getting bloody and red, and like we see Rize's naked body like behind him, like holding on to him. And when I say naked body, I don't mean nudity. I mean it's implied that obviously she's naked, but you don't see anything that would be like breasts or anything of that nature. And she's holding on to his back in the dream or whatever. And then all of a sudden now he wakes up in the hospital bed like just like that, and one of his eyes is like a ghoul's eye, all big and veiny and whatever. And then it's like the scene changes and he's just in the hospital bed and he's all confused, and the doctor's telling him like, oh, your life was saved, don't, he's like, my tongue tastes, I don't taste anything, like it's weird, and the doctor's like, don't worry about it, you'll make a full recovery, and it looks like the doctor has this sort of like suspicious like like grin, like he knows what's going on, like that Ken has this ghoul inside of him now, this ghoul thing. But yeah, so what it was the doctor took Rize's organs and put her organs into Ken's body, and by doing this, Ken now has this. He's like now like a half ghoul, a half human kind of thing. But he's got no taste anymore for regular food. Like ghouls, he has to eat flesh or whatever. So he goes home to the hospital. Well, in the hospital, they show him like not being able to eat anything. So he goes home and he doesn't know. He can't figure out why he can't eat nothing. And he sees on the news a specialist talking about how ghouls have a certain taste only for people. They can't eat nothing else. Anything else, they'll puke. And he's getting really afraid now. He's getting really worried. And so he tries something, throws it up. He tries something else, throws it up. There's like a bag of everything Hide got him for when he got out of the hospital. Hide got him all these different types of food. He tries everything, throws up everything, drinks anything, throws up everything, and even tries like a home-cooked hamburger gravy type meal, which is supposed to be like his favorite meal. and he throws up and he's crying. He doesn't understand why is this happening? He's a human. It doesn't make any sense. So he's walking. He's in despair. He's walking through the city, and he smells something. Like I think the people when they walk past him like that, they probably smell interesting to him too, or something like that. But he finally gets this smell of like this aroma that would smell so delicious to him, and he can only describe it as like mom's home cooked meal. He even like they show a fluffy image in his mind of like him running towards like a mother with an apron on making a home cooked meal, and he's like running towards it like it's the best. It smells so delicious, and we see a ghoul, a man eating uh, a dead man on the road. And the ghoul is like, I haven't seen you before, I haven't eaten in a while, so I can't really share too much. But here, you can have some too. And then all of a sudden, like you see, like that Ken has this like like he wants it so bad, but and the scene is like, what am I doing? What? I can't eat that. That's a person. Like he's struggling between both worlds. It's really good. And then all of a sudden, the ghoul that's eating, he gets killed instantly by this other ghoul who looks like like a young adult guy with glasses or whatever. And he's like, this is my feeding area, and anybody that comes here is going to be killed. Nobody takes my food or whatever. And so then, just as he's about to like dish out some punishment to Ken, pretty much try to kill him, Toka appears, and Toka says like I'm not 100% sure what she says, but towards the fact that like get out of here, like leave him alone or something towards that effect. I don't remember. And he pretty much points out that she's part of this antique group. What was that group called again? The Antiku group, and and there's like a little exchange there that I can't recall right now, and they have like a little bit of a fight, and like when I mean a fight, I mean like just like a samurai type of clash, like where two people rush at each other, and then like in the old school samurais, they put the sword in, and then all of a sudden the other guy's cut or something like that. So Toka just passes him, and he's like, you'll have to cut harder than that. And she's like, will I? And then he gets cuts like all over his body, and he can't move. And he's like, damn it! And he has to retreat, but she's more powerful than him. So now we just see Ken on the floor, and Ken is like staring at the rotted corpse on the floor, or the corpse on the floor, and he's just like drooling for it. And Toka's like, eat. I'm like, what are you doing? Just eat. Like, he's like, no, I can't. I'm human. But there's no way in hell I could ever do it. And we really see the anguish on his face, and we really see like him going back and forth from like drooling and grabbing it to the other hand, one hand grabbing it, the other hand slapping it away, and like he's really, really showing both sides of his personality right there, and fighting so hard to keep his sanity, keep his humanity. And it's painful to Toka. Toka can't understand. It's pissing her off. And she's like, all right, if you really won't do it, then I'll help you. Like, and she takes this huge chunk of flesh from the body with blood and everything, and she just slaps it into his mouth. And that's how the episode ends. Episode 1 ends with all of that just being chucked into his mouth, and him crying and like screaming and stuff. So wow, what an episode for the beginning of an anime. This is pretty much going to be about Ken's struggle between being human and being a ghoul. And like I said in the beginning, what does that mean? Like, is he going to be a monster because he'll have to be people, or or can he live a life that is not evil while still being a ghoul, and just the whole struggle of how this is going to be, the psychological impact of on his character. the fighting potential between rival ghouls with different monster-like tendrils and arms and things of that nature. It makes it really exciting anime to watch, really thought-provoking, heart-wrenching, and I highly recommend everybody to watch this one. This has been my episode 1 Tokyo Ghoul review. Episode 2 will be coming shortly within the next couple of hours. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe for more, and don't forget to leave in the comments below thoughts about the episode, and thoughts about what the potential of the series is, and thoughts about what you guys would like me to, what anime you'd like me to check out, or what manga you'd like me to check out. But thanks again, guys. Take care.